Please be seated. Shana Tova, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova. There once was a rabbi who was so well known for the quality of his sermons that everyone in the community came each Shabbat to hear him. One weekend, however, a member of the synagogue traveled out of town for his niece's bat mitzvah. As he didn't want to miss the rabbi's sermon, he hired someone who wasn't Jewish to sit in the congregation and record the sermon. That way, he could listen to it when he returned. And of course, this was pre-YouTube. Well, other congregants saw what was going on, and they got the great idea that they could also hire non-Jews to come each Shabbat and record the rabbi's sermons. That way, they could play golf instead of going to shul. Within a few weeks, there were only non-Jews sitting in the synagogue, recording the rabbi. Well, at some point, even the rabbi understood what was going on, and the following Shabbat, he too hired a non-Jew to play his pre-recorded sermon for the congregation. Witnesses said this was the best Shabbat service ever. In all seriousness, it is exciting and special to stand here with you this evening, welcoming the new Jewish year with you together, in person and online on YouTube. The crowd is a little different since Chaim and I arrived here nearly 3 years ago. We lived through COVID. People we loved passed on. New members have joined. Our Jews by Choice program has welcomed new people into our fold, and we have gained many new friends all over the world via our YouTube channel. And by the way, we hope to welcome our 1,000th subscriber on YouTube this Rosh HaShanah, and the next time you come, you get a honey cake. The great Jewish philosopher Franz Rosenzweig wrote, "None of us has solid ground under his feet. Each of us is only held up by one neighborly hand, holding us by the neck, with the result that we are each held up by the next person, and often, indeed, most of the time, hold each other up mutually. Simply put, we need each other." On the other hand, David Brooks, a columnist for the New York Times, wrote an open-ed piece about a powerful analytic tool developed by Google that searched words and phrases from 5 million books and that were published between 1500 CE and the present. The findings showed changes in history and culture. For instance, phrases like, "I can do it myself," and other individualistic words like self and unique were used more frequently between 1960 and the present than words like community, share, unity, and common good. Brooks concludes in his article saying that we are increasingly more me than we focused. We have become alone together, at home, alone together, in our neighborhoods, alone together, working long hours with people at work, alone together, in the car driving long distances, alone together, watching TV or pursuing apps on our phones, alone together, facing the problems of our lives, and sadly all too often even celebrating joys alone, together. It is a weird paradox. On one hand, we are connected by all the apps on our phones, but it doesn't feel like it. On this Rosh Hashanah, we must admit we are failing to relate face to face with family, friends, neighbors, our religious institutions, and our democratic structures, and not all can be traced back to and blamed on the pandemic. Not that the following approach is a cure-all, but because it is Rosh Hashanah and we are all looking for good ideas to make things just a little bit better for ourselves and others, I suggest that we start the new year by asking, what can I bring to the shul that will energize it, strengthen it, and keep it exciting? Humans are social beings. From prehistoric campfires to modern kitchen tables, our homes, neighborhoods, and synagogues are where we build the relationships that give our lives substance, support, and meaning. We want friends who we can count on. We seek the counsel of those who we know and respect. We want to grow and enjoy life in community with others, with those who will inspire us to be our best selves. We want to share our journey. Shared ideas and passions should inspire and nourish us. That's where your Wimbledon community can step in. We all belong to the shul to ensure that Jews have a spiritual home, a center of Torah, a foundation for Jewish life, a safe harbor in times of trouble, a place to seek guidance and support for all those in need whenever they need it. And if Wimshul is there for others when they need it most, then it will also be there for you when you need it most. We are blessed with a wonderful, vibrant community. There are opportunities for our members and their children to learn, grow, and develop strong Jewish identities grounded in the values of Torah. But what drew Chaim and me to Wimbledon was recognizing that this is a congregation that is truly like family, where there is a genuine reaching out between members, a religious community with a steadfast dedication to social justice. Nevertheless, we are all aware that we, as a community, you and I, can do so much more for one another. So my first suggestion is to bring both newer and members of many years together for conversation, laughter, and deep relationships. The goal is to find peers, peoples who share beliefs and practices and who care about others. I understood some of you have known the person you are sitting next to for years and even decades. But my question is, do you know 9 others? If not, or even if you do, I hereby declare everyone has permission to use this message in the weeks and months ahead to walk up to someone at an event, during Kiddush, or even during my sermons, and introduce yourself and listen to the other person's name and their story and why they are part of our community. Those online, on YouTube, feel free to use the live chat in our channel. Our next step is to listen. Why? because we can't guess what the thoughts of the other people in the sanctuary are. We don't know much about each other's dreams and hopes. Every person in our congregation has goals and passions. Everyone here and online is facing the dynamics of modern society in a similar and different way. I ask you, if you feel like you are constantly running from one thing to the next, or if you have ever been exhausted by the hectic pace of life, if you feel a desire to connect and relate with others, and if you believe that you have strength and ideas and passions that you want to share, but have never managed to share them here, start the conversation. Share the gifts of yourself with others. Talk with other parents and empty nesters. Host and attend a Havdalah house party. Join our Torah study. Sing in the choir. Or talk politics with the Israel Committee. Let's double the size of our Bring and Share Chavurah suppers. Share your voice, your ideas, your interests, and your truths. Come to shul. Make this building an extension of your living room. Listen and connect, relate and renew. We are all components of the living faith that we are creating together. There is more to belonging to a community than just paying dues. Shul ought to be a place that inspires us to live purposeful, significant Jewish lives in connection with one another. This should be one of our goals for the new year. In a shtetl in Eastern Europe, many years ago, there was a nobleman who was concerned about the legacy he would leave to the people of his town. The man spent a great deal of time contemplating his dilemma and at last decided to build a synagogue. In the course of his planning, he decided no one would see the plans for the building until it was finished. The construction took a long time, much longer than he'd anticipated. But at long last, the project was completed. The townspeople were excited and curious about what they would find upon entering their new synagogue. When the people came for the first time, they marveled at the synagogue's magnificence. No one could remember to have ever seen such a beautiful synagogue anywhere in the world. Then, noticing a seemingly obvious flaw in the design, one of the townspeople asked, "Where are the lamps? What will provide the lighting?" The proud nobleman pointed to brackets which were strategically placed all along the walls throughout the synagogue. He then gave each family a lamp, as he explained, "Whenever you come to the synagogue, I want you to bring your lamp and light it. However, each time you are not here," he said, "a part of the synagogue will be dark. This lamp will remind you that whenever you are absent, some part of God's house will be dark. Your community is relying on your light." Dear friends, today marks also the beginning of the 75th anniversary year of our community. And as in the decades before, the truth is that your community, your Wimbledon Synagogue, is relying upon you for light. The light of your unique and distinct gifts. The light of shared belonging, shaped by the idea that when we are in relationship and well connected, we can better care for the well-being of one another. And in the light of spiritual growth and learning from and about one another, we will live better, richer and more fulfilling lives. That is how we will practice Judaism together. That is how your Wimbledon Synagogue community has been all about in the past 75 years. On this Erev Rosh HaShanah, I asked you to join me, the board, and every member of your holy congregation in keeping the light burning, in helping to strengthen this congregation, in choosing to value relationship over self-interest, in sharing your gifts with others, and in openly receiving the gifts of others into our own lives. And by the way, if you're still asking your non-Jewish friend to record and listen to my sermons, I have a suggestion for you. Why don't you join your friend next week in Shul? This service could end up being one of the best you ever intended. Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova Umetuka. We